This is a story of the people of the land of Denmark, a small country located at the foothold of the Scandinavian peninsula. It is a story of a people who value time and are stoic, and live in a land where silence is golden. It is the beginning of autumn in the land of the Danes, and in the small city of Aarhus, I take a walk in the woods surrounding the city. Aarhus is Denmark's second biggest city after Copenhagen, and many Danes refer to it as typical Danish. They like the quiet, cozy nature of the city. It is so beautiful out here. The trees are changing from green to yellow, and there are red plants and yellow flowers. But the leaves and flowers are breathing their last breath. They are beginning to die. The chilling wind begins to sweep the land, announcing the end of summer and the coming of a colder and more colder climate. The birds flee this land to warmer distant lands, and a solemn silence descends on the land. The people don on their heavy coats and retreat into their houses. The smile on their faces disappears into severity. For the outsider, this is the beginning of the cold Danish individual. For the next 8 months, the weather will be grey in the land of Denmark. The Danish people dislike this weather, but they have to live with it. Interestingly, it is during this period that the cozy atmosphere that every Dane cherishes occurs, and the best moment is deep into winter, Christmas time. On this day, every Dane is with his most dearest and the family. And so, throughout the Danish people's history, they have learned to work and prepare to live in this unfriendly weather. Denmark has a long and rich history, and it is considered one of the oldest kingdoms in Europe. The Danes treasure their monarchy and treat their flag with fascinating ritual. The story of the flag still travels around in modern-day Denmark as having descended from God during war after a bishop's earnest prayer for salvation. Then, it is alleged that the Danes won the war. But that is the end of fantasy in Denmark, and like Danish humor, very brief and peremptory. The Danes are practical people and have survived centuries of real life as conquerors of much of northwestern Europe and as they vanquished in the later centuries. Today, they are a small size of 43,000 square kilometers. So throughout the years, they have learned to live as a small nation, but to keep up their pride and maintain their unique position. In this 20th century, the Danes were once occupied, but the spirit of Denmark lived on. A motto that said what was lost on the outward had to be won inwardly inspired everyone. So once again, the Dane retreated into his inner self and worked harder without a show of emotion. And today, amongst the Danish people, work and achievement has become a sense of identity and belonging.
You know, work here in Denmark is something then that nearly everyone wants. It's part of our identity. When we are asking, what are you doing, we in fact mean, what are you working with? That's a common question when Danes meet each other.
In one of the plush suburbs of Aarhus lives the Graversons. They are each above 80 years, and their story of life is a story devoted to work.
Jeg også landmandspige, så jeg har malket, og jeg har tjent ved bønderne, og malket og gået i marken, og det hele, hvad det nu var, man skulle. Gøre spandreden og gå i marken og luge roer. Så der gik dagen jo så. Og havearbejde og det hele. Så lærte jeg at sy herinde i Aarhus og rejste ind og lærte at sy halvt års tid. Og så var jeg, ja, så har jeg talt ved en bager, og var op klokken 5 og pakke rundstykker, og videre frem. Så var der 11 mand, jeg lavede mad til. Og vi havde jo små forretninger, som så vi skulle levere mad til. De skulle også have mad. Chauffører kørte, og de skulle også have mad. Og så, det gik jo så. Men så blev jeg dårlig i benene. Og så sagde lægen, hvis ikke jeg sender dig hjem nu, nej, hvis ikke hun sender dig hjem nu, din madmor, så gør jeg det. Så må jeg jo tage hjem. Og så gik det jo 3 måneder. Og så gik jeg og tænkte mig lidt om, og så tænkte jeg, nej, nu vil du ikke være afhængig af alt det her arbejde. Og så begyndte jeg at lære at frisere.
It was only last year that Mrs. Graverson laid down her tools as a hairdresser. And for Mr. Esbjørn Graverson, with a distinguished record in the milk churning industry displayed out in the family living room, he stresses that the present generation has to work harder.
Ja, at de har noget at bestille, det er jo hovedsagen.
Ja.
In the neighborhood of the Graversons lives the Moensens. Mr. Per Moensen is a religious believer in the concept of hard work. He says that starting life as a clerk and working hard at many jobs before his present position as a lecturer at the university, he believes that his country offers the opportunities.
We have a society here in Denmark with a lot of possibilities. And you know, the young people in Denmark, I think it's up to themselves to create what they like to create. We have a very liberal society here in Denmark with a lot of opportunities.
In spite of the success that Per has made, he still works as hard as before.
They are very ambitious, and they demand from their teachers that we deliver all the lessons. They do not like when I'm sick, when I'm traveling. They demand that they get their missing lectures later on.
Hard work, careful planning, with clearly defined goals, has brought bread on every Danish table and a rich nation. Each Dane strives to work towards a situation where nothing goes wrong, and nobody wants to waste any moment of his or her life. This race peaked in the 1950s and the 1960s, and the technological age brought along more attractions. There was so much offered in life for one to select from and acquire, and a variety of entertainment for everyone. But if the Danes had so much to enjoy, they never exploded into a national showbiz. They remained modest in practical appearance, with each individual enjoying his wealth silently. I was told the secret behind this modesty by different Danish persons. Sana was one of them. She has an apartment to herself in Aarhus City and enjoys being alone. She explains that in Denmark, it is silently forbidden to show off what you are, and it is an upheld value to be modest.
It's called janteloven in Danish, the unspoken rules of behavior. That don't you think that you are better than us? Don't you think that you can do things better than us? They're always to press people, a kind of. That you have to fit in, you have to be one of us. Don't walk around with screaming clothes or something like that. Or don't be too loud. Or, of course you have to be self-confident, but don't be too smart. We don't like smart people.
But the seeds of individualism are built in the fact that Denmark developed a welfare state, which is the envy of many nations. It guarantees that everyone is taken care of. At the moment, Sana is unemployed, but she receives money for her upkeep from the state.
Hello, it's me, Senoga. Hello?
Soren is also unemployed, and in the quietness of his little flat in Aarhus, he says that it is difficult to pinpoint concrete fears that a Dane may have in life as may happen elsewhere in the world.
The easiest thing is to say what we do not fear, I think, because in Denmark we do not fear hunger, we do not fear war, and we do not fear ecological, maybe ecological catastrophes, but not environmental, like earthquakes or natural catastrophes. I think the things we fear are more. It's difficult to say. I think it's very individual, but they are more personal and more related to your personal hopes. Maybe you fear that you don't suffice, that you're not good enough at what you do, or maybe you fear that you never live up to your dreams.
So, a culture built on work and an economic security has built the Dane of today, an independent individual who does not have much need for his neighbor. The biggest effect of this has been on the family structure. In the search to place themselves as individuals in society, young people often find little time for their families.
We have lost that close relation to the elderly generations. Of course we lost that. But anyhow, they are there when we need them. And a lot of Danes, they are working very hard. So that means that they do not have the time to take care of the elderly people. But the elderly people, I'm sure, they do not want to stay in the same house as their childs and their grandchilds. Here in Denmark, a lot of elderly people, they still have their own house, their own furniture, their own clothes, and they would like to be on their own, I think.
Altså, vi blev skubbet, jeg ved ikke mere, man må sige, men blev skubbet ud, men altså, dengang vi kom ned, der kom vi sammen med hele gaden. Altså, vi har noget med hinanden at gøre i indvendingen. Det er, og det, vi ser ikke nogen af beboerne. De har så travlt, de kommer hjem, så skal de ind og se fjernsyn. Og så ser vi også her og ser fjernsyn. Vi har ikke noget med hinanden at gøre.
For some old people, it is the solemn old people's home for them once old age creeps upon them. Some find the quietness here too lonely, but rest with the hope that their sons and daughters are working themselves into the new world.
Når jeg bliver gammel, så vil jeg sidde på en bænk, der hvor havet slår ind over målen.
Ironically, some fearful voices ring out against this system that was prepared to safeguard them from fear and want. 26-year-old daughter is a product of this system, and now that she's mature, she questions some aspects of this system.
Here in Denmark, we have created a welfare system that takes care of everybody. People that's, for instance, children that don't have any parents are taken care of. And old people are taken care of. They get the pension so they can buy food. Unemployed get a salary each month so they don't have to live in the streets. If you get ill, you can go to the hospital for free. And you can even study and take an education if that's what you want. And that in itself is amazing. It's really fantastic. And to have a society where things like that is possible is a gift that everyone should treasure. But what I see is that we have created a society that takes care of everything. A society where nobody has to take the responsibility. And that is a responsibility dealing with yourself and your neighbor. And it's a responsibility dealing with love.
50-year-old Anna Marie, who lives with her husband in the quiet suburbs of Aarhus in Vibu, looks at these times as rather too hard for the young people.
It was easier when I was a child. As I remember, we didn't have so many problems, and the world, it seemed smaller. Today we can have the whole world inside our rooms every day, from radio, television, and I feel that today we have to take care of every problem in the whole world. It wasn't like that in when I was a child. It was easier when I was young. We didn't have so much money, but I think we had more fun in that time. Now they have problems. Many of them, they don't have a job. They have never tried to have a job. When I was young, all of us could get a job. There was no problem. And if we didn't like it, we could go around the corner and get a new one.
She has good reason to feel that way. Her husband Eric was a professional bookbinder, and now he's out of work when he's still useful.
Because it's many years old. That was the things I was doing to be a bookbinder. And all that is made in the hand.
Anna Marie saw that Eric would be lonely without work, so she bought him a computerized chessboard to play at home.
And you got your game. It's there. We're gonna take back.
Oh.
It's very difficult.
It's good for him to play with it. Sometimes he's alone at home, and then he can play with himself.
It must be very expensive, the chessboard.
Oh, yeah, it has been expensive.
Watch him. Take it deep. Yes. Well, you can do that.
And on a good sunny day, Anna Marie and Eric like to take a walk out in the woods at Queen Margaret's summer residence in Aarhus.
I like very much to be in the open at all, but very often on Sundays my husband and I are going with the bus to the Queen's Garden. It is a nice place. It's peaceful. It is green. It is clean. We like to be there because it's very peaceful, very silent.
Anna Marie and Eric, like all Danish middle-aged parents, can take care of themselves. But what they cannot do is to influence the decisions of their children. Anna Marie thinks that in the world of today, people are too absorbed in materialistic acquisitions and ensuring a personal material satisfaction. It was not like that in her times, and they had their children when they were young. Today, people have to wait before they get children, if at all they decide to. And at the age of 50, she has given up all hope of being a grandmother.
My daughter, she don't like children very much, and she said to me once that she thinks that there are so many unhappy children in the world, children without parents, without a home, and it's a good reason. She has adopted a child together with me in India. Every month we are paying a little for a little girl there, and then she can go to school and get something to eat, clothes, for only 130 kroner a month.
Jon Kislason, an artist, has a different experience. He has tried to have a normal family. However, he has, like in many other cases, suffered the fate of divorce. His experiences have been reflected in his work. He just paints without any serious moral behind his work. He says he paints himself and what he sees. When I asked him whether that is what he sees of the Danish people, he replied that he doesn't see the Dane. He only paints his experiences.
Yeah, I always paint very personal things. I painted these things because I was going through a divorce from my last wife. I paint only what I experience myself, so I never think about Danish nationality when I paint. I only think about myself and the people I know. As it's a man and a woman that has been divorced by the tree of life here, very red one. They have been holding hands here, but the hands have been painted over. And the man is standing with his feet buried in the ground, he cannot move. It's a man walking into a dark forest. Here's the man, and you can see through him. He's there and he's not there because he's moving into the dark forest. And that can be a period in his life, or depression, or just some dark thoughts. He's walking into this forest.
Oh, okay. And there's a picture I saw somewhere around here. This one, yes. What did you mean?
Yes, it's a man running, jogging to keep fit, to keep him young and not die, but the death is running with him. So he's going to die anyway.
Even if he keeps fit.
Yes. I make these many paintings of people by the sea because I'm swimming myself every day, the year round, and that's a big experience for me with the sky and the water and naked people by the sea. And I make people that make love and people that hate, and I make these very strong feelings because I'm typical Danish. I'm not so good at showing strong feelings. so I do it in my paintings.
But Auntie Ua, another artist, looks deep at his situation and compares it with the Den of today.
Yeah, but I know behind the face, behind the inside, behind the face, I know that a lot of people have a problem, a lot of things going on. Because I know there's just one answer that can help people very deep. Maybe they can have a speak with a friend or a psychologist, and then it will help few days or few months or few years, and then the problem will come again.
What kind of problems?
Problem, I think. What are we doing? Where are we going? And why? Why are we going and why are we doing? I think that many people have this kind of thinking in their head. Yes. I think this is a self-portrait.
Mm.
It's a face of a man, and there is no eyes. He's blind. The eyes is painted away, and then he's shouting with his mouth. And there is I think it's a big wolf or a big animal who bite him in his face, in his head, and then he have a gun here, a revolver, and where shall he put the bullet for stop this animal? Because I think it's a very wild animal inside him. I think it's something inside I have painted is coming outside from me.
It's how you feel yourself.
It was my life. It was what I feel in my life. There was something who grab, scratch.
Være nær hos alle syge på krop eller sind, hos dem, der har mistet en af deres kære, og hos dem, der snart skal dø. Være nær hos os alle, når vi bærer på tunge byrder. Vi beder dig for din menighed, her i Møllevang Sogn og ud over hele verden. Vær med et vidnesbyrd om dig i ord og handling. Og vi beder dig for dronning Margrethe og hele hendes hus, og regering og folketing, og alle, der skal råde i land og så træffe vigtige beslutninger.
We are shy people, and we don't talk much about it. But as a pastor, I meet people when they're coming to us to have their children baptized, or when they will have a funeral, and in these meetings, from them I know that people are still thinking about God.
For a long period, people haven't been that spiritual minded, I think. The money and the materialistic things have been filling people for a long time. But now we're starting to ask again, where do we come from, where do we go, why are we here? And then today we hear many voices that try to answer that question. From the East, we get new religious movements, from philosophy, from politics, and also from the church. So people are looking in many directions to try to get some answers. And they have felt an emptiness in life. And now they also then turn to the church to ask there. What are our roots, for example, in Denmark?